start off right away with a lot of this movie seems to be centered around Randy's 1957 Gretsch guitar. For most people like myself, we just see that as guitar. But what is your guitar? What does that 57 Gretsch mean to you?
When you grew up, did you have a puppy?
I didn't.
Did you have a cat?
I had a hamster.
Okay. There's a certain thing that when you're young that you relate to. A guitar is very special. You hold it next to your bosom. It feels your heartbeat. It feels your breathing. It becomes part of you. And when you're a kid and you're going through whatever stages you are, whether you're 8 or 9 or you're a teenager, and I was a teenager when I started the guitar, 14 or 15, you're confused. The world's changing. Your body's changing. Everything's changing. And the world is changing, and what you grasp onto is something that you don't think, which is, a float or a guitar or a violin or a basketball, and you're shooting hoops or something, and it becomes your thing. And somebody inspires you, like a baseball player or a basketball player or an actor or a Chuck Berry or an Elvis or the Beatles makes you want to, gee, if that guy can do that, I can do that. He's a normal guy. I'm a normal guy. He's a truck driver, or they're poor guys from Liverpool. We're poor guys from Winnipeg. We can do the same thing. And you believe in the impossible because you've got this connection, this guitar. And then you write songs on it. You learn to play on it. And suddenly it is your key to the world. It's your keyhole into the world. And it becomes such a part of you. It's really amazing. When it's gone, when it's stolen from you, and it's heartbreaking. It's like your hamster being crushed, by a dump truck in front of your house. You're out there, and something has really changed in your life. And so the guitar coming back was pretty special. What was amazing about the whole thing was it came back at a time when we were filming ourselves. Cattell and I were doing a YouTube every Friday because of COVID shutdown. We were doing nothing except getting together every Friday and doing this thing like Wayne's World, 2 guys, 2 guitars goofing around. And out of that, we got contacted and got my Gretsch back. And because it was from Japan, and Coco being Japanese, she connected us with Zoom with this guy, or we never would have been in touch with him. So many, many people came forward with random acts of kindness and goodness and feeling some inertia happening from this whole guitar being found in Japan and how it came together. And so Tal found Tyler, this guy, to put it together, this director. We had all this footage to show him that we had been, without any real plan, filming and zooming and keeping track of it. So it ended up being an amazing project. I haven't seen it yet. I'll be seeing it Thursday for the first time.
Right, absolutely. I do want to talk, speaking of guitars and inspirations, I heard a story, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, you were speaking with Kim Mitchell, and you mentioned about Jimi Hendrix asking you for advice on guitars. Is that true in the late 60s?
No. I met Jimi Hendrix once.
Okay.
He wasn't Jimi Hendrix at the time. He was playing a little harmony guitar in a band with a guy named Curtis, and he was wearing like a James Brown sparkle suit, not short pants, but you can see, like Michael Jackson, you can see his shoes. It wasn't long pants. He was playing an R&B band in Greenwich Village, and I would go to Greenwich Village every night after a recording and go and see Richie Havens and different comedians at the bottom end and Cafe Wa and all this stuff, and just walking by and going to see this guy, and he kind of stands out in the band. Don't know why. He didn't have his Hendrix hair then. He had like slicked back James Brown hair, and thought, gee, this guy's pretty cool. They played a blues song and that was it. But no, that was my only connection with Jimi Hendrix. He was Jimmy James at the time.
Okay, fair enough. Me being a millennial, I grew up with a well-known movie called Superbad. I heard originally you did not know that Michael Cera, the actor, was singing your song, These Eyes, in the movie. When you first found that out, what did you think about that?
I thought it was cool, and I thought it was really great that it was done by Canadian guys in Vancouver who lived a few miles from my house. I've been trying to meet them ever since. I'm never able to meet them.
That's fair. Talking a lot about Canadian music and artists, I want to highlight your son, Tal, because for people who don't know, Tal Bachman, big song, She's So High. I just want to know about just the relationship you two have together, because it's a pretty unique relationship.
We've been listening to music together, playing music together my whole life. It was always in the house, that vibe. Just last night we went to the ELO concert here in Toronto, and we had a lot of, it was a moving show because it brought back a lot of memories, because ELO was probably my first big favorite band that I discovered on my own. So that was really cool. I guess the only thing I would add is that I felt like I kind of had to find my own way there, for a while in my early adulthood, which I did. And I was, fortunate enough to get that record deal out of New York City and release that record off Columbia Records. And I had a great few years there. But there's ups and downs in the music biz, and Dad and I've been kind of, rolling along together the last few years.
Amazing. Randy, I'd like to ask you, what's the significance, and why do you said at the end of your shows, you always say, keep the rock rolling. Why do you say that?
If you don't keep it rolling, it stops. I ended every radio show with that. And you try to get, I always try to get a catchphrase. That's a song title. I mean, that could be a great song title, like Keep the Rock Rolling. I don't know, like, I'm Jesse Waters and this is my world. You know what I mean? That you end your show with a certain thing. Every TV show I saw, George Burns, and they have a goodbye signal or something they say. That was just something I said. I try to find something that would be my own thing. It's like Keep the Rock Rolling ended up being my own thing.
Yeah, fair enough. I do want to ask, I'm not a musician at all. I don't know chords, keys, anything, but I hear songs and that sound familiar. I want to ask about 3 songs from BTO. The intros, it's probably not a coincidence. They all sound the same. So You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, Let It Ride, and Hey You. Similar intros. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, they're all written by the same guy and played by the same guy. Listen to a Chuck Berry album. Every song sounds the same, except the lyrics are different. One's called Johnny Be Good. One's called Rock and Roll Music. One's called, something else. When I was crafting BTO, it was a very difficult time trying to find a space on the radio that we might fit into. And there seemed to be a crack in, and people were saying to me, gee, you can write pop songs like you did with the Guess Who, but things are changing. And I knew they were changing. They were getting heavier. So I would write a song with what I call a jangling light rhythm guitar on the chorus and the verse. And then when it gets to the chorus, bam, a punch and a kick right in the face with power chords, where it's the same guitar, but you kick in 2 or 3 foot pedals or you crank up the volume. And when you sing your hook line like Hey You or 4-Wheel Drive, you're singing louder, because you sing your verses quieter, like Once Upon a Time when it gets to, and then you yell your punchline, so to speak. I also had the guitars accenting the choruses, and going back to American Bandstand that I used to watch every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock in Winnipeg, because we got American Channel then, KCND from below Winnipeg, from North Dakota, when they would rate the record every single Saturday when Dick Clark was on there, and he'd say, why do you pick this record over the other? It's got a great beat and a great hook, and you can dance to it and you can sing it. So I made sure every song was danceable, a nice rhythm guitar starting it out that catches your attention, and it doesn't blow you away right away. You're drawn in, and you start to listen to the verses, which are telling you a story or beginning a story. And when it gets to the hook, bam, in comes the power guitar and the taking care of business, taking care of business, taking care. over and over and over. And then you relax and you give another verse with a light guitar, and it takes you in and out and in and out. And I just did that by assimilation, because every pop song I heard, whether it's written by Carole King or James Taylor or the Beatles or Doc Pomus for Elvis or Lieber and Solar for Elvis, they were all the same. They have a nice little intro that you recognize, a verse that's light, and when it gets to the chord, it's bam. You know, you ain't nothing but a hound dog, that kind of thing. It's like, whoa, it shocks you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you for that explanation. One more question, just learning about Taking Care of Business and how it came to be with the piano, Norman Durkee hopping on that song. For those who just don't know, can you just briefly describe that situation with Norman Durkee, please?
Well, we were in the studio. Fred talked me into singing Taking Care of Business. I really wanted him to sing it, but he said I should sing it because I had sung it on stage. And I think I sang it once. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I figured it's an album cut, it's a throwaway cut. I didn't care about it. And there was a knock at the door of the studio. And we were in K. Smith Studios at the time in Minneapolis, a brand new studio. We were in Studio A. Studio B was Steve Miller doing his Fly Like an Eagle album. And Studio C was War doing their Why Can't We Be Friends album. And the knock at the door, I opened the door, there's a guy standing there. He's got a big beard, frizzy hair, and an army suit on. And he's holding 3 pizzas. And he says, pizza. And I said, go down the hall, try Steve Miller or try War. And we're putting on our coats. We're leaving. We've been in the studio since 10 in the morning. It's now 1 o'clock in the morning. We've been there 20 hours or something. And the knock at the door again. And I say, yeah, the guy's there without the pizza. So he obviously delivered the pizzas. And he says, I don't really deliver pizza all the time. Only the end of the month. I'm a piano player. And when I deliver pizza the last week of the month when I can't pay my rent, this song sounds like you could really use a piano. And I said, yeah, I know Little Richard. I know Elton John. They're both at the time, they're like the Grammy Awards are going on or something in LA. They're all both in LA going crazy. I'll get them to play on it later. And he said, I'm a keyboard player. Give me a shot. And it's like, I'm tired. And like, there's no piano set up. We're guitars, bass, and drums. And then I thought, well, who am I not to give a guy a shot? I mean, I appreciated somebody gave me a shot once. I'll give you a chance once in a while. So I said, okay, we opened the piano, threw in a mic. It wasn't even tuned. Normally when you're going to record a piano, a guy comes and tunes it every single day, so it's perfect. We threw in a mic, covered with a blanket, and I said to him, okay, play a little bit like Dr. John, Elton John, and Little Richard. So what he was doing, he would play to it once, and in one verse, he would do big spread chords like Elton John, like Honky Chateau, Honky Cat. He would do Dr. John chords, New Orleans, and he would do Little Richard stuff in one. And then we would maybe go through it, and I'd say, oh, I like that verse. Play that through the whole song. When he was all done, we were so tired. We said, that's good enough, great. I was going to erase it the next day. So the next day, the head of our label, Charlie Fatch, comes in, and he wants to hear the album, and he wants me to write more top 40 songs, because the first BTO album was like album cuts, 4.5 minutes long, 2 solos, heavy duty stuff, and he wanted more pop music. And so we've got a couple of pop songs, which is like Let It Ride and a couple other songs. And I say to the engineer, when you play Taking Care of Business, don't even play the piano track. Like, we hadn't heard it back. He played it and we said, that's great. We left. Halfway through the song, the engineer pushes up the volume control, and then comes the piano. And it's halfway through the song, and Charlie says, what's that? BTO with the piano? That's incredible. You'll get Elton John real estate. I said, what does that mean? He said, Elton John's all over AM and FM radio. You'll get some top 40 radio play. Let me hear the whole song. So we backed that up, played him the whole song. And then one verse is like Dr. John, the next is like Elton John, the next is like Little Richard. He said, well, that's great. It's a real party piano. Nobody's playing anything planned. The whole thing was not unplanned. And he said, let's just leave it on the record. You'll be playing this song every day the rest of your life. It's a really good party song. And that was a big break for Norman Durkee. He went on to be Bette Midler's music director on her first North American tour. And then when I played with Ringo Starr's All-Star Band in '95, we ended the tour at the the Greek Theater in Los Angeles, where the LA Philharmonic rehearse and play, and their pianist was Norman Durkee. So I saw him again there. He has since passed away, but he really added a lot to Taking Care of Business. He changed the sound of BTO on the radio by having keyboards in there.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, thank you guys, both of you, for everything you've contributed to music, to Canadian music, and just good luck with the film. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Nice chatting with you.